Electricast.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at usaa.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
As a contractor, I don't pay for materials I don't use. So why would I pay for stuff I don't need in my mobile plan? That's why the new MyBiz plan from Verizon Business is so perfect. Now I can choose exactly what I want, and I only pay for what I need.
Right now, with MyBiz Plan, get our best price, as low as $25 a line. Visit verizon.com/business to get started today. Price per month with 5+ lines. Includes autopay and paper-free billing and special intro offer discounts. Taxes, fees, economic adjustment charge, and terms apply. Offers end June 10th, 2025.
Welcome to Her Extraordinary Life by Design, where we celebrate women who are shaping their lives one extraordinary day at a time. I'm your host, Leslie Gaudet, self-care coach for women who are ready to make self-care a priority to support them in life and business. Every week, I'll be speaking with inspiring women from various walks of life who will share their personal journeys and will discover how they have fearlessly carved their own paths as business owners, passionately pursuing their dreams and creating a meaningful impact on their communities. So let's get started.
What if the reason you feel stretched thin, emotionally tired, or constantly behind isn't because you're not doing enough, but because you haven't been saying yes to the one person who needs it most, and that's you? Let me explain what I mean by that. High-achieving women know how to keep the wheels turning. You know how to show up for your clients, for your family, for your team, and for your vision. But in the process of showing up for everything and everyone else, it's easy to slip into a pattern of overfunctioning, overextending, and under-supporting yourself. And so here's what I want you to really consider today. Are your yes decisions fueling the life you actually want to live, or are they quietly building a life you feel the need to escape from? Because what I've seen over and over again is this. The women who seem to have it together on the outside are often running on depleted energy behind the scenes. They're leading their businesses, but they're losing touch with their own rhythm. They're checking the boxes, but forgetting to check in with themselves. And when rest becomes a reward that you have to earn, that's a sign that your self-leadership needs a reset. Hello and welcome to another episode of Leslie's Corner Monthly Musings here on Her Extraordinary Life by Design podcast. I'm your host, Leslie Gaudet, self-care strategist and creator of the Yes Reset Method, my 3-step system I use to help high-achieving women like you set up a life you don't need a vacation from so you can grow a business you love with less guilt and more freedom. My hope today is that you'll walk away with a clear understanding of what it really means to practice self-leadership in a way that supports your energy, your well-being, and your long-term vision. A 3-question decision-making framework you can start using today to filter your yes commitments, and a new way of thinking about rest, clarity, and boundaries, not as luxuries, but as strategic tools that protect your capacity to lead, love, and live well, in essence, living a life you love. So if you're ready to stop overfunctioning and start living from alignment without guilt or burnout, keep listening because this conversation was made for you. So let's talk about what's really going on beneath the surface. Because what I've found both in my own life and in the lives of the women I work with is that exhaustion rarely starts with physical burnout. It starts with emotional depletion that no one else sees. You look at your calendar and you know you can technically fit one more thing in. So you say yes. You always do. You say yes to the late night client call. You say yes to the school volunteer project. You say yes to the friend who needs help. You say yes to pushing back your own workout, your own nap, your own quiet moment, because there's always something more important that needs you. You're showing up for everyone except yourself. And what no one tells you is that you can be a high-capacity woman and still be misaligned. Most women I speak with don't feel exhausted because they're lazy or unmotivated. They feel exhausted because they've been making decisions from pressure, not from peace, not from clarity. And here's what's tricky. This doesn't always look like chaos from the outside. Most times, it looks like success because you're organized, you're capable, you're composed in meetings, and you're present in your group chats. You're crossing off the to-do list like a pro. But inside, there's a growing disconnection because the truth is, You've confused high capacity with limitless capacity, and there's a cost to that. At first, it's subtle. You skip the walk, you answer emails at dinner, you cancel the day off, but then it gets louder because you start snapping at people for things that don't usually bother you. You stare at your screen and you forget what you were doing. You lie awake at night replaying conversations because there's no buffer left in your emotional bandwidth. And eventually, you stop even asking yourself what you need because what's the point? There's no space for that anyway. And the rest you do get, it's not the kind of rest that replenishes you. It's the kind of rest that comes when your body forces a shutdown. It's where rest becomes reactive, scheduled only after everything else is handled. And let's be honest, everything is never fully handled, right? Life is not all sunshine and roses. We know that. What happens is the high-achieving woman keeps going because that's what she does. But now she's doing it all while carrying the weight of resentment, fatigue, and quiet disconnection from herself. And even though no one else sees it, she knows. You know. You feel the difference. This is the slow leak that no one sees, but you feel it every day. The quiet burnout hiding in plain sight because you're doing it all, but losing yourself in the process. You're managing the calendar, the meetings, the team, the kids, but the one thing you're not managing is the energy it's costing you. You're reactive instead of intentional, and that's not because you're flawed, it's because you've been conditioned. Like there's this unspoken narrative where we've been taught to be good women, helpful, reliable, responsible, service-minded. But we were never taught to be energetically wise. We were never taught to ask, what is this yes costing me when it comes to your well-being? Because that is important, and that's where it all shifts. It's not just that you're doing too much. It's just that so much of what you're doing isn't actually aligned with what matters most to you right now. And that misalignment is what's draining you, not the work itself. Because the truth is, it's not just your time that's stretched thin, it's your energy. And energy, unlike time, is personal. It's emotional. It's tied to how things make you feel. So even if your calendar is full of good things, they may not be the right things for this season of your life. And that's the cost no one's talking about. And that's what I want to help you reclaim today. The ability to pause, to check in, to ask yourself, not, can I do this? Because of course you know you can, but should you? And that's the difference between overfunctioning to prove that you're capable and self-leadership so that you protect what matters most, your peace, your presence, and your well-being. It's the difference between constantly playing catch-up, chasing the inbox, the to-do list, the expectations, always one step behind your own life. Like no matter how much you do, it's never quite enough to feel caught up, to feel calm or fully present, to actually finally create a life that feels like it's holding you, not draining you, where your schedule reflects your priorities, where your energy is protected, not depleted, and where your decisions feel like a reflection of you, not just your responsibilities. Now, I'll never forget a moment with one of my previous clients, someone I've spoken of before in this podcast, and I felt her experience really needed mentioning again. She's a brilliant, heart-led woman who was saying yes to every client request, every opportunity, every ask that came her way because she felt she was obligated to say yes. On the outside, she looked like she was thriving, her calendar was full, her business was growing, and she was showing up for her clients with excellence. But underneath it all, she was doing it all while in pain. Literally. She was physically hurting, but still she was showing up like nothing was wrong. She'd gotten so used to pushing through that slowing down felt unfamiliar, even unsafe, like it would be wrong. The conversation came from a check-in that I do from time to time with women I've worked with before. And when we started talking about what she'd been experiencing lately, she realized just how much she'd been abandoning herself in the name of service, including working through pain instead of giving herself the break she desperately needed. She'd been operating from the belief that being a good business owner, a good woman, meant saying yes to everything, even when her body and her spirit were screaming no, to stop. But here's the shift. She didn't need more productivity hacks or time blocking systems. She actually just needed permission to pause, to ask herself, Is this aligned with what I actually want right now? Is this supporting my peace or just my image, my bank account, like what others are seeing? Because again, that comes from what we say yes to, right? And I've always said that every yes is a trade. That shift away from doing more and moving towards choosing from alignment can change everything. She realized that she needed to take back her calendar and to stop cramming and saying yes to everything just because she had an open time slot. And she stopped equating her worth with how many things she could say yes to in a day. That's where her self-leadership began. Not in a to-do list, but in the very moment she realized she didn't have to earn rest. She just had to give herself the yes that she had been giving everyone else. So what I've found is that saying yes to yourself is one of the most misinterpreted ideas in our culture, especially for high-achieving women, actually women in general. We've been conditioned to believe that saying yes to ourselves means we're saying no to someone else, that we're being selfish, inconsiderate, irresponsible. But the truth is, saying yes to you isn't selfish, it's strategic. It's the kind of yes that protects your ability to keep showing up without losing yourself in the process. Because when you're constantly saying yes to everything and everyone else, here's what's slowly happening. You start resenting the things you used to love. You show up, but you're not really present. You're getting things done, but the cost is mounting, and it shows up as irritability, emotional fatigue, brain fog, or even that quiet whisper that says, I don't want to do this anymore. And the world will praise you for pushing through. You'll get validated for being reliable, for being the one who can always handle it, for being the one who never drops the ball, for being the go-to person who never says no. But here's the truth that most people don't say out loud. If you abandon yourself in the name of being available for others, you're not leading, you're leaking, meaning you're leaking your energy, your clarity, and your peace. When you learn to pause, though, and you put yourself on your own VIP list, you realize that saying yes to you is the act of reclaiming all of that. It doesn't mean that you stop caring. Instead, it means that you stop adjusting to everything and everyone around you, and you start aligning with what's right for you. It's that shift from reactive leadership of self, where every ask feels like an obligation, to resource leadership, where every decision is rooted in alignment and where you show up as the best version of yourself. Because here's what I know. The ability to pause long enough to ask, is this mine to hold right now? Is this in service of my energy or just my ego? Is this helping me live a life I actually love or just manage one I'm constantly recovering from? I know that when you take a moment to pause and really take a moment to check in with yourself, that this is what it really means to say yes to you. And it's a necessity that you learn to do that, because when you take care of you the best that you can, you show up as a better version of yourself in the things that you do, the things you say, and the people that you interact with. So what does it really look like to say yes to yourself? Let me give you an example. Let's say you're invited to speak at a high caliber event. It's the kind of opportunity most people would leap at. The audience is filled with decision makers, aligned clients, and peers who are playing at your level or higher. The host is someone you respect, it's paid, and you already know this kind of platform can open real doors. And your first instinct is to say yes. And because it feels like you should, because it's on brand, because it aligns with your long-term vision, because saying no might feel like you're walking away from momentum. But instead of immediately defaulting to yes, you pause and you run this opportunity through the 3-question yes filter, which is part of my bigger framework of the yes reset method. But this is the very beginning part of it. I believe really the essential piece to start with, because this is going to help you to make better decisions. So you want to start with the first question, which is, does this align with my highest priority focus? Because right now, maybe your focus is really building a life that requires presence, thought leadership, white space on your calendar. Because your next level isn't just about more success. It's about honoring the vision that you have for how that success feels and looks like, down the road, even 5 years from now. You've committed to protecting your energy for the things that compound, not just to impress others. Yes, the event is aligned with your values, and yes, it's high quality. But the question really that you want to answer is, would it mean shifting your entire schedule, prepping new material, reworking your calendar? And even if it might seem right on paper, is it right for right now? Meaning, while it's aligned in vision, it may not be aligned in timing. And then, of course, you move on to the second question, which is, am I saying yes from alignment or from obligation, guilt, or fear? This one most likely will hit deep because this is usually when you notice if the yes is being driven more by pressure than passion. Pressure to be visible, pressure to say yes because others in your circle would, fear that if you pass up the opportunity that you might miss your moment. But when you get quiet with it, you realize the price isn't just your time, it's your energetic capacity. It's your ability to show up fully to what's already working beautifully in your business and your life and where you currently are in your journey of life right now. Lastly, you want to make sure that you also ask this question, especially if you are entertaining saying yes. And that is, what am I trading for this yes? Because with every yes, there is a trade. And this is where the clarity lands. Maybe you realize that you'd be trading protective creative space, spacious delivery weeks, time with your family in your current state of calm, ease, and focus for a yes that looks good on paper, but again, is costing or will potentially cost you behind the scenes. Maybe you've made plans for that family vacation and this is smack dab in the middle of it. And in this season of life for you, maybe that trade-off isn't worth it. So instead of people pleasing or performing to make on the outside looking in that you're this successful person, that this is what a successful woman does, instead you start learning to choose from discernment. You instead thank the host, you decline gracefully, and confidently ask her to keep you in mind for future events. And then you stay devoted to what's already working. This is what high-level self-leadership looks like. Not just the ability to say yes to the right things, but the courage to say no to the almost right things, even the shiny ones, because saying yes to yourself first isn't selfish. It's the only way you protect the life you're building from the inside out. Now, before we close, I want to leave you with a simple but powerful challenge. This week, I challenge you to choose one decision, whether it's a client request, a meeting invite, a personal obligation, and I want you to walk it through the 3-question yes filter. Does it align with my highest priority focus for right now? Am I saying yes from alignment, guilt, obligation, or fear? And what am I trading for this yes? Then ask the deeper question. If I'm considering saying yes, will I be trading the life I want for the version others expect of me? What am I really, truly trading? Let yourself notice how it feels to make a self-honoring choice without guilt. That's the shift. That's the beginning of saying yes to a life that holds you, not one you constantly need a vacation from, allowing you to actually start living that life where you continue growing a business you love with less guilt and more freedom. Now, if you're ready to stop overcommitting and you want to start creating space for yourself again and build a business and life that doesn't burn you out, then I invite you to reach out to me to chat and see if the next step for you would be to book a Yes Reset strategy call with me. If you're ready and decide that's what you want, then on the call, we'll identify where your current yes decisions are quietly costing you clarity, energy, and peace. We'll walk through your own personalized yes filter together and set you up with a strategy that supports the life you actually want to live, not just the one you're surviving through. So check the show notes for my email, send me a message, and let's chat. This is your moment to reset before burnout forces it. Remember, you don't need to wait until you're completely drained to take care of yourself. You don't need to prove your worth through overfunctioning. You just need a clear yes and the courage to give it to yourself. Now, remember, self-care isn't something you earn at the end of a hard season. Taking care of you is how you build a life that doesn't require recovery time by choosing one aligned yes at a time. Now, before I go, I want to share something really exciting with you. This Sunday, June 1st, marks the 100th episode of Her Extraordinary Life by Design podcast, and I could not be more excited. I'm really, really excited. I'll be joined by Dr. Mimi Zeman, physician, writer, and women's health advocate, for a powerful conversation about courage, reinvention, and living a life that lights you up from the inside out. Mimi shares her remarkable journey from balancing the demands of medicine and motherhood to rediscovering herself through unexpected adventures and writing her memoir, Tap Dancing on Everest. If you've ever wondered what it actually looks like to live authentically, to take bold steps and choose yourself without apology, this is the episode for you. I hope you'll tune in and celebrate this milestone with me. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep designing your extraordinary life one day at a time.
Thank you for joining me on Her Extraordinary Life by Design. I hope you've been inspired and empowered by the incredible stories shared on this show. If you enjoyed this episode and the conversations we've had, I would greatly appreciate if you could take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback and support mean the world to me, and it will help others discover the podcast and join our empowering community. Remember to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Together, we can continue to learn from these amazing women, uncover their extraordinary journeys, and be motivated to create our own lives by design. Thank you again for tuning in. Until next time, stay empowered and keep shaping your extraordinary life one day at a time.